All right, we got UK versus US culture explained by your boy Jimmy the Giant.
Britain and America are like twins separated from birth. One was
Yes.
raised in fine aristocracy, and the other was abandoned at a gas station and told,
True.
good luck. These
True.
two great nations have dominated the world both economically, militarily, and culturally.
Everyone in Britain got in a big old boat and we set sail and we robbed, and this will sound far-fetched, everyone in the world.
Whilst having spawned from the same origins, they went off in their own two directions, becoming both very similar and very different.
Yo, we all are great. We all should think that we're great. There's no reason for you to not think that you're great.
I've started to get this feeling that I'm
What?
totally fucked. You know? Everything's fucked.
Today, we will analyse American versus British culture.
All right.
The American comic hero is a wisecracker who is above his material and who is above the idiots around him. You know that scene in Animal?
Really? I don't know. Maybe I'm too like low IQ for this, but I just thought they like comedians were just people that were just good at telling jokes. And that's about it. I mean, yeah, granted it does sound like kind of judgy whenever you're making jokes. It's like, oh, you're just shitting on this, you're shitting on that or whatever, and bringing out the ironies of certain things, but I never thought that they were like above their material.
House where there's a fellow playing folk music on a guitar. John Belushi picks up the guitar and destroys it. And the cinema will laugh because he just smashes it and then waggles his eyebrows at the camera. Everyone says, God, he's so great. Well, a British comedian would want to play the folk singer.
Comedy is a great way of revealing a culture's ideas. So American comedy and British comedy, they're very different. American comedies always tend to be built around the idea of like optimism and positivity.
Be
Really?
curious.
Okay.
Not judgmental. I like that.
I never really thought about comedy in that way. I just thought if it's funny, it's funny. And that's it. Granted, everybody has their own sense of humor, and, you know, there's certain things that make them laugh and certain things that don't make them laugh, but I never really thought about it like that.
There's typically always the notion that things can get better. You can see this in the character Leslie Knope in Parks and Recs.
I can do it. I can crush him. I promise.
And typically, in an American comedy, the cool guy is the main character.
So you know how to take the reservation.
Yeah.
You just don't know how to hold the reservation.
Now, let's compare that to
I
British
guess.
comedies. Typically, the idea in a British comedy is that life will always disappoint you.
We need to have a talk.
You finishing with me?
We weren't ever really.
Oh,
I see you not around, but here.
see you.
Huh. I never thought about it like that.
Secondly, you'll never make it in life. All your dreams and hopes and optimism is ultimately futile.
I have this dream. You and I own this skyscraper office block on the South Bank. And above us, on top of the skyscraper, in 50-foot-high neon lettering, are the initials of Trotters, independent traders.
Just above your head is the word tip.
Another idea that is shown is that you can always expect the worst thing to happen.
So, yeah. Right, thank you very much. Do you like it? Oh, shall I put that on you? Brilliant. Do you want another beer? Was that my beer? Yeah. What? Do you want me to get you another? Yes.
And finally, the main character, the point of focus in a British comedy, will typically be some awkward loser.
I like your glasses.
I'm afraid they're not for sale. Laugh all you want, they're not for sale.
Huh. Dang. I mean, I could just as easily use the whole, what do you call it? What's that one geek show? Big Bang Theory? I could just as easily use that as an example for, what do you call it? American comedy.
So this leads us to our first key cultural difference. And that is American idealism versus British realism.
Oh.
Instead of me telling you this, I'm going to show you it through expressions. Americans will say things like this. Well, you know what they say. The sky's the limits. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yes, I really hate those. Like, the more I grew up, the more I just hate those stupid little, I don't know what you call those things. Like, the early bird gets the worm. It takes one to know one, or something like that. I hated those little, I forgot the phrase for it. But it's just a phrase that exists to tell you like a life lesson. And because you didn't know this phrase, that thing happened to you. It's like, I hate that. That's bullshit.
Whereas in Britain, we'll say things like, got hope for the best, but expect the worst, mate. We literally have a thing called Sod's Law. What can go wrong will go wrong. And then
That's not a, is that a British thing only? There's no way that's an exclusively British thing. It's like, we say that shit in America all the time, dude. Like, no.
Say you have a situation where something is looking good. You've got an opportunity. Americans will say, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Whereas we'll literally say, well, old boy, don't count your chickens before they hatch. And
Yeah, we say all that shit in America too. Honestly, I think this is like a class thing. Like, the lower you go on the class ladder, the more blurred all of these little, like, I don't know, significant things get. The higher you get, I mean, I don't even know. It's like the higher, I was gonna say the higher you get, the more separated and exclusive they get. But like, I don't even know if that's true even. For the most part, everyone is like either like middle class or poor class in fucking America. I mean, I don't know, much the same way like anywhere else. But like, no.
And finally, if you're in America and your whole life is going terribly, it's looking awful, Americans say, well, it's always darkest before dawn.
Bro, you do not say that when your house burns down. Fuck that. That is a bunch of bullshit.
In England, if everything's going well, we'll say, yeah, mate, but this is just the calm before the storm. So you might be wondering, why?
This is the calm before the storm. And what, like everything's like neutral before it gets worse? And then every dark cloud has a light. Like there's something that worse happened, and then you're like it's about to go up in the future. I mean, I get the little dichotomy thing, but there's no shot that these are like, there's no shot these are exclusive to like one area versus another area.
Why do we have these very distinct attitude differences?
Before we go, bro, there is no fucking attitude difference. You got the poor people versus the rich people, and it's always been like that. Most people are out here digging their hands in mud to try to pick up pennies.
Any further with this video, cold turkey might be great on sandwiches, but there's a better way to break your bad habits. We're talking about today's video sponsor, Fume. When it comes to bad habits, not everything is inherently wrong. So instead of some drastic, uncomfortable change to your lifestyle, why don't you just remove the bad from your habit? Fume is an innovative and award-winning device that does just that. Instead of vapor, Fume is literally just flavored air. And instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses all natural delicious flavors. Each Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial. The flavors are honestly delicious. You have orange vanilla. You then have raspberry lemon. And then you
got... I am such a man for sucking on some flavored air.
I'll be honest, I really like the product. It really feels great. The quality is amazing. It looks cool. Fume has served over 100,000 happy customers and has had thousands of success stories. And there's no reason that couldn't be you too. So join Fume today by picking up the Journey Pack today. Head to tryfume.com/Jimmy the Giant or scan the QR code and use the code Jimmy the Giant to get 10% off when you get your Journey Pack today. Anyway, back to the video.
Now stand aside,
Bro, this movie is goated.
worthy adversary. 'Tis but a scratch.
A lot of the British attitude can really be pointed to our very long and brutal history. We've had tons of wars and plagues and religious upheavals. All of these things have kind of led to British people sort of having doubt and distrust into the future. Like, yeah, it might be going well now, but tomorrow a swarm of Belgians might come over and behead us. Understanding our history gives us this cautiousness to being too optimistic about the future. As well, you have to combine the religious attitudes of the Church of England. The Church of England was very much a believer in the idea of original sin. The idea that humans have fallen from God, we're all inherently bad, although we do have the ability to be somewhat redeemed. This has engineered a sort of attitude of cautious optimism. We're not entirely 100% pessimists. All of this combined with the fact that our weather is pretty shit.
Rain.
Are they shaking their hats off like in unison?
Rain.
Oh no, they're not shaking their hats off. They're like turning their head and shit. Oh. Bro, there's a ton of people that are cautiously optimistic in the US.
Rain. Us Brits endure it on 199 days of every year.
You could literally have a week.
Damn, it rains about 200 days out of 365. Dang.
Of sunshine in England and think, you know what, this Saturday, let's go for a picnic with the family. And then because your dad showed some optimism in the weather, God will smite you with a torrential downpour for the next month.
And even the days without the rain, there's no 100% chance that the next day will be like just bleeding sunny, you know? Like there's been a ton of days where it's just overcast over here in Florida. Like it won't be raining, but it won't be like clear blue skies either. It'll just be like gray clouds, as much as you can believe that to happen in Florida.
And so this general attitude can be completely contrasted with American optimism. And that stems from, ultimately, if you're the type of person to leave Britain, a established nation that has infrastructure, etc., hop on a boat, travel for weeks, months across uncharted waters to arrive on uncharted lands.
Okay. I mean, yeah, this is what happened, but when someone says I'm an American, I don't think this is what they're really referring to. Like, yes, this is the history and so on and so forth, but anytime I say I'm a American, I don't think that, like, yeah, my ancestors like seceded from Britain and came over here on boats and robbed all the the Native Americans of their land and all that shit. That's literally not how I think.
To do that, you need at least an ounce of optimism. Look, water, lands in the distance, see? Mate, you've been saying that for the last 3 fucking icebergs. Oh, look, yeah, look, can you see it? Another fucking iceberg. I'm tired of this. Fuck it. And then so after discovering this new land, which was a crazy thing to go and do, America then went through 2 great awakenings. I don't know what happened in the first one, if they just hit snooze or something, but the first great awakening was in 1730 to 1740, and then the second one in 1795 all the way up to 1835. So what happened in this was that the religious attitudes of America had evolved. New ideas around like self-improvement, the idea that everyone has the ability to shape their own destiny and their own future. Humans can be better, they can improve.
You know what's funny? It's like when you say it like that, that's a very optimistic thing to say, but look at the reality of all the people that were there. Their main source of power was like horse and buggy and, horse-drawn carriage. And like there was probably a good amount of time before what's his face came along, Ben Franklin with the electricity bullshit. There was a considerable amount of time before that motherfucker came around. All right. So as much as you want to say that, like, yeah, you can go out there and make something of yourself. It's like, bro, the life expectancy of everybody back then was like, what, 30, 40, 50? You're probably going to die in the wilderness. If I got a tooth infection, you're dead. Oh, I got something infected because an animal bit me. I'm dead. You died from literally anything.
Society, they can make and create things that make the world better.
Everybody, I know you can believe in yourself.
They had strong convictions around the importance of working hard, as well as very pragmatic attitudes, the idea that things should be done well and efficiently. These last 2 led to a very strong cultural focus on capitalism and efficiency in business.
Oh, you're right about that.
All of this manifested itself in the idea of the American dream.
The American dream is just the ability to achieve. Anybody can do it, but you're not just going to get it because you want.
Bro, the whole American dream thing, that's just something like people that have some like popularity say. Like it's really hard to do shit in America. It just is, man.
Want it. You got to be willing to work hard. You got to apply a lot of hard work. You got to apply faith. You got to apply persistence. You've got to never, ever give up.
Bro, there's a ton of people that do all this shit and still go nowhere in life.
So basically, the idea of the American dream is that any old piece of shit, old Bob who still lives at home with his parents, 40 years old, anyone can go and do anything they want to in life.
That Americans are told they can become the next president of the United States. And they can. British people are told it won't happen to you. And they carry that. They carry that with them.
I know what's probably going through.
Well, where do you think that all stems from is my question. If, you know, we all came over here on the, like from the East Coast, and then, you know, if you got America, it's like everyone just traveled until they reached California and be like, oh, okay, all this land's ours. So in the beginning, you had a bunch of like fucking explorer type people, like trying to, you know, just conquer everything from like one side to the other side. And then in Great Britain or whatever, you're just ruled by the king and queen. And what's the king and queen going to do? They're not going to tell you to fucking strive to be better because they don't want any competition. No, they're just going to tell you, they're going to pat you on the head and be like, good job. Just keep doing that. Don't try to look for anything better. Of course they're going to tell you that.
Through your head, you might hear that and think, fucking hell, why are Britons so pessimistic? I mean, we literally had the biggest empire on earth. Why are we so deflated? And so that leads us to a very core cultural difference between England and America, and that is class structure.
I was brought up really in a
oh boy,
poor
here we
family,
go.
you know. Really, we had nothing, really. If I could get in a position that some of them people in, I would like to be in it. These lords or ladies or peers, or you're talking about them class of people.
The Curzon's family started with William the Conqueror.
In Britain, the idea of class and where you stand socially has been a very core part of our identity. Until very recently, as a Brit, your whole life was decided before you were born. These differences between the upper class...
Well, I could probably imagine why, because I guess in Great Britain, they still did... Well, they still have a fucking king and queen and princes and princesses and all this other bullshit stuff that worked all right back in the day. But I don't know. It just doesn't seem like you really need kings and queens anymore.
And the work.
But also, I don't know jack shit about British culture or like anything law-wise over there. So what the fuck do I know?
Class has existed through most of British history. There's like this idea that the upper class are pure blood. They were like chosen by God.
Okay, that's not sounding a little sketchy.
They had divine rights. They literally referred to themselves as blue-blooded. And they were much
Blue
better
blood.
than the grunts working the coal mines to power their beautiful machinery.
Wait, so what's the difference between a blue blood and a grunt? Aren't they both British? Or is it just like the families that they were born into? Oh, it just so happens that you were unlucky and you didn't spawn in the royal family. You spawned in some buttfuck whatever family. You got to go in the coal mines. Yeah, that sounds great.
And so there's always been this attitude in England of like judgment between the classes. The upper class and the working class hate each other. And class is interesting because it's not just defined by wealth.
We give dinner parties 2 or 3 times a week. This enables us to keep in touch with our wide circle of friends.
We give a wine and cheese do once a month. This enables us to do it on the cheap.
Her mother comes round Saturday nights and drinks my Guinness. This enables her to get drunk for nothing.
Class is much deeper than simply wealth.
All those jokes did this to me. All over my head.
It's the accent you talk in, the way you behave, the schools that you're educated in. If you're from Cambridge School of Witchcraft and Wizardry versus the community college in Shitham, literally everything you did would be defined by class.
I think working class people in general feel this kind of...
Well, not only class, but everything you do is also, as much as people don't want to admit it, it's also dictated by your environment. If you grow up in a shitty environment, with shitty schools around in a shitty neighborhood, chances are you're probably gonna be a shitty person too. I mean, it is what it is, man.
Kind of thing weighing down upon them, and I can't put it into words of what it is, but I think people watching this will understand that you feel it pushing you down all the time.
And so there's this understanding that there isn't much class mobility. If you are lower class, even if you got wealthy, you could never be upper class. There's no way. And so this kind of demoral...
I mean, honestly, who cares about upper class, lower class, middle class? Who cares about the actual labels of the classes? People really just want to have the ability to make a little bit of money and not have to work from paycheck to paycheck. That can be said. That is true and can be said of both USA and Great Britain or UK, whatever. All right. People just want enough money to, you know, not have to worry so much, not be stressed out so much.
Moralization spawned a attitude in British people that things can't really get that much better. I'm always going to be judged from basically the background that I'm from. In America, as I explained with the American Dream, the attitude is that anyone can be anything. Americans love the idea of the rags to riches story, the underdog archetype that you see in films like...
Oh yeah, because the underdog story is way more interesting than the person that was like kind of had some things going for him, and then they tried a little bit, and then they succeeded at a thing. Right? That's not too interesting. But if you got someone that was like down here, and then they made something of themselves, yeah, that's a way more cool, interesting story.
Like Pursuit of Happiness or The Founder. Class does exist in America, but it is very different. You're probably going to see more things between North and South divides and racial divides. But I do, as a British person, quickly want to make a caveat. The British people have never had like outright defeatism. British people will try in life. They'll try very hard, but we just don't like to get our hopes up. We are optimistic, but just in a very cautious way. Like Americans might aspire to be a millionaire CEO of a big tech startup, whilst British people will aspire to one...
Oh no, that is not true. The most favorite job of kids these days, like what they want to do with their life, is they want to be an influencer. That's all they want to do. For the most part. I'm sure there's like a couple, you know, that's just a majority of the pie slice, like a good chunk of it. You know, there's probably some doctors or lawyers in there still, or like, I want to be an engineer, or I want to design clothes or makeup or some shit, or I want to be a nurse or something. All right. But that pie slice of I want to be an influencer is getting bigger and bigger. All right. Yeah.
They shop at Waitrose.
My wife likes to shop at Waitrose. It's the middle class
I have no idea what that is.
Option. The people who shop at Waitrose, they like to drop it into conversation. Sorry I'm late, I was just at Waitrose, just so everybody knows.
So the explanation on the class system...
What is that like? Is that like Chili's? Or like Applebee's or some shit? Or like a, yeah, is that what that is? Or wait, is that more like an Olive Garden?
System leads us to another point, which is politeness and expressiveness. Here's your food, good sir. What the fuck is that? Everything okay with the food? Oh yes, lovely, thank you. Oh.
Bro, if you were to just show me that scene, I couldn't really tell you whether or not that would be UK or USA. That's just, I don't know, man.
I would say British people are kind of overly aware of being rude and impolite, which has some benefits. You know, we treat people really well. We hate to be awkward and we like people to feel relaxed. But it can cause British people to take way too much shit and not stand up for themselves.
That was such a good sketch.
I slap you and you want me to hit you on the other cheek?
Americans will tolerate less bullshit, which is a good thing, but then sometimes they can be a bit rude and a bit overly confrontational. I have waited...
Maybe. I mean, also, I think this has to do with your age. The younger you are, the more likely you are to be the victim of bullshit, but the older you get, the less likely you are to be the victim of bullshit.
Exactly 5 minutes. It is a Big Mac. How long do you need? This difference when it comes to being polite probably stems from the British Reserve and American individualism. British people are very reserved. Typically, in public, we all sit like this, and we're all very quiet, and we don't...
Bro, people sit like that in America, too. I mean, I don't know when the last time I went to a restaurant to sit down, like the last time, but like was it like a year or two ago, I was sitting down at some restaurant or whatever. Maybe it was like a Chili's. People sit like that in US. You know, they're sitting there chilling.
laugh too loud, and we try and be really polite. And this can stem from the Victorian era. There was very strict social rules over behavior, dress, the way you express yourself. It was very stern and rigid. The reason we tolerate so much shit is because we have the religious idea of turning the other cheek. As well, are probably over...
Yeah, at least half of the U.S. is some sort of Christian or whatever, Catholic, I don't know.
Awareness of people's personal space and being rude can probably stem from...
Yeah, you don't need religion to you know, tell you to not be a fucking asshole out in public.
And the fact that we live on a small island very closely together, we don't have a lot of space, and we're all on top of each other. So we have a strong respect for people's personal space.
If you would have led with that, I would have been more inclined to believe you with all the stuff. Because when you stack people on top of each other, like in cities, I don't live in a city, thank God. Like, you just have to be like very, you know, reserved, like don't make a lot of fucking ruckus and don't stir the pot and all that shit. Yeah, oh man. Okay, it's making more sense to me now. And this is actually probably true because in America there's like big ass cities in America where people are just stacked on top of each other, and I can't imagine that. That sounds horrible. You have no sense of like privacy or whatever. You're just constantly being listened to through the walls from your creepy neighbors and so on and so forth. Like, damn.
Okay.
And then like some of it is the fact that the upper class social attitudes probably trickled down to the working class, where it's always seen as being a lower class thing to speak loudly and have bad manners and be overly confrontational.
Yeah, those are like caricatures in movies.
Can you come back in, please?
Oh my God, this is war harassment. I'm going to take this to the Court of European Rights.
And so, British people have the attitude of a stiff upper lip, don't show emotion, and don't complain about your problems.
Well, that was fucking scary.
Whereas Americans, that is not the case.
All right, what country are we in? In the United States. You're goddamn right. You can't take a picture here. Okay, First Amendment. Get back over there.
I have a right to speak. I have a right.
Oh yeah, these guys are fucking lunatics anyway. They want to wave around like XYZ amendment. I can do whatever I want. It's like, bitch, this is fucking private property. Dumbass. These fucking Karens and these dudes that walk around with their little iPod or fucking GoPros with their bulletproof vests or whatever, like trying to make some sort of statement or whatever. It's like, bitch. I mean, yeah, you can cross the line, but I got a fucking rifle right here that says otherwise.
Deal with that. This is my right as much as it is yours. This is my land as much as it is yours.
To Americans, I am important. I am the center of the universe. After the Great Awakening, there was a strong focus on
Yeah, you're the center of the universe until you go somewhere you're not supposed to be. And then all of a sudden, you're not the center of the universe.
Individualism. Emotionality and expression is a good thing. Being outgoing and extroverted is a very American thing. British people are very introverted. Americans, after things like the Bill of Rights, have a strong focus on their personal rights and freedoms and liberty. In America, all men are created equal. And so they don't have this idea that you're better than me or I'm better than you by birthright. We're all humans, we all exist, and we all deserve respect. And so this leads to politics and the attitude toward authority.
This is an illegal detention at this point. You better get your shit straight. Oh, I will file a complaint. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Like, right as soon as we leave here.
Bro, I can't imagine being a cop, dude. That is something I am thankful I did not go into. I do not want to be a cop. Sheesh, man. And my hats off to like all the cops that like go through all this dumb shit every day. Jesus.
Am I not human to you, huh?
Americans are inherently very skeptical of authority. They believe more so in small government and self-autonomy due to the British ruling America and, you know, being a bit naughty, a bit rough around the edges.
Wasn't there like an experiment that did or whatever? Maybe it was in America, but it was like with the two rooms, you got like a dude on the other side that's like hooked up to some sort of like little shock machine, and then the other dude is on the other side of the room. But then the dudes can see each other, and there's a dude in a lab coat that says, "Hey, he said the right answer, but give him a shock anyway, and like gradually increase the shock. And because the dude in the lab coat told him to do so, the dude just like purposely did it because he's just appealing to authority. Yeah, people fucking do that shit all the time, dude. In the US, just appeal to authority.
As well, Americans are very rebellious. The formation of America was around escaping the Church of England. In Britain, on the other hand, it is different. We do have a trust in our government. It is waning currently, but typically we trust in social order and we don't really make too much of a big deal about infringement of our rights. And that's probably because of years of unquestioned power by monarchs. And again, the stoicism and the idea of stiff upper lip, not complaining too much, not making a big deal. It kind of has led to this polite, submissive behavior, which sometimes is a bit embarrassing.
Careful, sir. It's
yeah.
hot. Oh, sorry. Might burn yourself. Yeah, sorry. Would you like some salt and pepper? Oh, yeah, sorry.
Like, you can kind of picture the movie scene of a British person, an American person.
I mean, that whole little clip is probably like a meme or like or whatever, but like there's nothing wrong about just having a little bit of manners in public. Like, who gives a fuck?
And dealing with authority. Excuse me, sir, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. Listen here, tough guy. You don't talk to me like that.
Your fucking American accent.
Excuse me, sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Oh, yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, that's fine. We'll leave, for sure.
What did he do to make him to get told to leave?
But darling, you're dead on the restaurant.
Yes, but I don't want to be rude. And so with all this, you can extrapolate these attitudes and understand different attitudes towards certain issues. You know, for instance, guns. Americans see guns as like a right to protect themselves from the government and other...
Oh, geez, the whole gun thing. Here we go.
People. America's fast food and subsequent obesity problem has stemmed from the ideas of efficiency in business, not wanting to waste time on food, taking too long to cook. And then you have things like healthcare and welfare. Like in Britain, we have a pretty strong healthcare system. Let's not get into that. Whereas Americans are far more reserved on bringing anything into public domain.
Yeah, people are more hesitant to go to the hospital because they're going to get fucking slapped with a huge ass medical bill.
Especially healthcare. Britain has an obsession with tradition and upholding tradition, whereas America have a strong focus on new and innovation, new products, technology.
By making the screen taller, but
I mean, that's just fucking capitalism and competition, though.
Not wider, you can see more of your content without the need to scroll.
What the fuck?
We're making scrolling a thing of the past.
And so look, I've picked apart British people and American people. I've made jokes, I've pointed out some bad things, but I want to say, and I think this is true, Americans and British people have a very deep mutual respect for each other. I think very much these days, ever since the war, we've had what has been dubbed a special relationship. I don't know if that's a gay thing or something, but whatever. As a Brit, I can say honestly, I really do love Americans. I love being around Americans. I really admire their confidence. They're so easy to talk to. They're very warm, open demeanors. British people can be very reserved at times.
Excuse me, young man, has anyone said...
I mean, but then again, I've met my fair share of people that are just hard to talk to and so on and so forth and are very reserved. Again, I think it's just, it has to do with, you know, where you are, where you just live at. I mean, do you live in a city? Do you live in like a rural area, a suburban area, so on and so forth? It depends.
Sitting here?
No.
Would you mind if we sat here?
No, it's fine.
I'm Ronald. This is Pammy. Actually, you forgot to tell us your name.
Peter.
Peter!
It can be pretty depressing talking with British people about the future and your ambitions. Whereas Americans are all patting you on the back saying, yeah, you can do it, bro. And I think Americans do appreciate British
That's fucking true.
people as well. They probably appreciate our realism. We don't really bullshit ourselves. We're very honest. We know our strengths, but we also know our flaws. Often Americans see us as well-spoken and intelligent, and you can actually see our comedy has massively influenced modern American comedy. There's a lot more awkward, dry humor in American television now than there ever was in the past. And obviously, Americans fucking love our traditions, arguably more than us.
Really?
And it leads me to a final thought, and that is about cultural homogenization. With the internet, culture across the world has sort of melted together. We're all seeing the same media constantly. I will listen to endless American podcasters telling me to go after my dreams and fix my life or something.
Oh yeah, the whole motivational bros. Like, get after it. You could do it. You could be anything. I think I saw like one video of this dude or whatever. I have no idea what he does or anything. I just know when I realize or when I see a person that is doing some sort of speech in front of like a little audience and it's like a motivational speech, I'm like, this guy probably scammed somebody or people, many people.
The idea that the internet is bringing lots of different value systems together and you can kind of choose which one suits you as opposed just the one that dominates your country. But I do wonder, are we going to see less of these interesting differences and are we just going to become a sort of best of greatest album kind of thing? Let me know in the comments.
I would probably have to say, given enough time, it's probably just going to become like a best of the album type thing. Like, there's still motherfuckers in America that are like, this race needs their own state. That race needs their own state. We're equal but separate. There's still those motherfuckers in there, and those guys are weird. But yeah, I mean, given enough time, you can't really avoid the meshing of everybody. Because what? There's like 7-8 billion people on the Earth right now, and we got a ton of more room for more people. All right, so. Yeah. And we got a couple billionaires trying to get off Earth.
If you want to see more on this topic, check out the Afters podcast where we talk more about this. Like and subscribe to the channel. Peace.
Nice. Wait. Okay. Yeah, that was a funny video, kind of. Like, I didn't really expect that, because, like, when I saw the thumbnail, I was like, oh, he's going to start comparing, like, just like random ass things, like, oh, the guy with the French hat versus the MAGA dude. Is that a dude with a MAGA hat? Or no, that's American hat. but yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different type of people in America, and the people that stick out would probably have to be the more vocal people. Like this type of person right here on this side is probably associated with certain political ideas and beliefs, much the same way that this person probably is, you know. It's very polarizing whenever you see like these two types of people. But I would say there's way more people in between that just don't give a shit. But no, I thought that video was fine, dude. It was good. I'm kind of curious to see what else there is though, but definitely great video. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, so I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.